Overstable fairway drivers are a category of disc that I have not figured out almost at all. Last year, I really tried with the Discmania FD1, but I just never found myself throwing it in tournaments at all. Now recently, a company that I have done some collabs with before, and we ran a signature Marvel last year, released a drop for Eric Oakley, their weapon in the Infinity plastic, which is a more C-line, see-through kind of plastic. Honestly feels very good. I'm trying to think of what to compare it to, and maybe the closest that I can get is like a Lucid style, like Milky Lucid. Like when I first ran discs ever, I ran some Felons and they were in a very similar plastic to this, which Eric was known for the Felons. So maybe it's full circle. But I want to do a 3-disc review today for overstable fairway drivers. And what I mean by fairway drivers are 7 and 8 speeds. 9 and 10 speeds I kind of sometimes lump into control drivers. So 7 and 8 speeds today. And the 3 main ones that I have are this new Infinity weapon right here. Very good feeling. I have the old premium one, which I did a silly review on my second channel, the Discmania FD1, since I wanted to bag it last year. This is 7402, even though the weapon is 8502.5. I imagine they'll fly relatively similar, but this has a little lip. And lastly, 8503 is the Neutron Terra from MVP, a disc in the James Conrad line that I've never thrown before. It has the Infinite Discs Mutant Spider stamp on it, which I think is pretty sweet. And one that we'll probably throw in a couple holes is the Finish Line Torque, because it has very similar numbers, and it honestly feels more like an MVP Terra, just a little chunkier in the hand, but I've never really thrown it in this forged plastic. I had some composite ones, the see-through, didn't like those as much, so we'll throw these on a couple holes. But it's kind of perfect today, because as you can see, it's pretty windy out. Got gusts up to 15 to 20 miles an hour, pretty sustained, 8 to 10. So we're gonna play a 9-hole loop here at North Midway Park. The line is gonna be 3 under par. If I can't shoot 3 under par or better, then one of these guys will go in my 50K subscriber giveaway. But since it's a 3-disc review, we're doing a CTP battle between them to see which one gets the most CTPs. Doesn't determine which one is the best, just which one I threw the best today. Hole 1, head left to right, probably about 265 to the basket, straight there. We're gonna throw forehands to start. Of course, odd man out goes first between these 3, kind of like we do a lot on this. Since we rotate the orders, it's gonna be the weapon, which is actually kind of what I wanted to throw first. I think it's gonna be the least overstable out of these. Maybe the Terra, but the Terra's domey, which means I don't think I'm gonna forehand it. It doesn't feel bad on the forehand, actually. It's gonna have to be almost flat. It might turn a bit and get some fade. Just gotta make sure to throw it smooth, because any wobble will be pretty detrimental to these bad boys today. And of course, I guess today we're gonna have to answer the question, is that good? No way. Oh my gosh. Oh my, that was pretty good. I threw it pretty flat. It did drift a little. So next I'm gonna throw the FD1 because I wanna see how those compare. I think this will be a little more overstable. It's a little stiffer as well. That one's not quite gummy, but it's definitely not as stiff as this Discmania C-line plastic. Okay, yeah. Definitely from those throws, I think a little more overstable. Wow, that weapon might be pretty workable then. And here's the Terra. Oh, wow. Wow, that was way more than I expected. Holy cow. And the last 2, I only throw these each once, forehand and backhand. So hopefully I get a good release. Here's the Torque from Finish Line discs. Very similar numbers, maybe the same numbers to that weapon. Pretty overstable though. Wow. I'm wondering if maybe I threw the weapon a little different, but we'll find out on these next couple holes. Here's the other weapon. Or maybe the wind just picked up. Okay, no, but that was similar. Okay. I will say the weapons came out the smoothest maybe, which is definitely a good sign. Also, I think the weapon is the sickest name out of all of these. We'll be playing into a headwind for the first 4 or 5 holes, and into a tailwind for the last 4 or 5 holes. But I think I should be able to start out with a birdie, which is pretty clutch. And the weapon is up 1 CTP to 0. It's got to be pretty close to a run. But a disc in this category, the overstable 7 or 8 speed, is something that I'd probably throw in the 340 to 390 range typically, or just in a lot of wind. This I think is the most overstable, but the Terra might be close. I'm hoping I just release this flat and these both on a touch of hyzer, because otherwise this is gonna be a little more understable than the other 2, which I did notice when I threw the premium, that the premium was kinda more like an 8.5, -1, 2.5. Had a little bit of turn, maybe a -0.5. This one is allegedly a little more overstable. So we'll see how that bears out. That being said, we're gonna play this next hole into a headwind backhand And it should give us a pretty good idea of the stabilities since I tend to be a little more consistent on my backhand than my forehand. They call it 329 to the short, which I think is a really good distance to test these, especially in a headwind. Anything further than this, probably 330-ish, I'm probably starting to reach for either an overstable 9-speed, 10-speed, or driver. Next on the box is the FD1, since we rotate the order so that it's not the same disc, getting the opportunity to get the birdies over and over again. I think even into this slight headwind, I'm gonna have to throw this a touch of flex, kind of at that tree. Hope that the wind doesn't burn it over and have it fade. A little high. Wow, that thing is pretty beef. It's down there. Wow. Here's Terra. This actually feels more comfortable than I expected for how big it is. I think I'm gonna have to do a video with the whole James Conrad lineup because these might be some sneaky good MVP discs. That's such a good throw compared to that first one. Holy cow. Wow, is that stable though? Wow. That's a great shot. That's CTP for sure right now. That throw felt so much better. That first throw felt whack. Another weapon. I'm gonna trust it. Similar Anheuser. Let's see. I didn't trust it, and it's probably a good thing. Okay, it's definitely not as overstable as the other two. Threw it flat, and I almost threw it in. That's 2 for 2 ton chains though, just in front. That's gonna be close between, wow. Here's the academic weapon. I think it'll be a little more similar than I gave credit for, but this one might pop up on a touch of hyzer. Yeah, touch of hyzer. The wind did pick up a little bit. Wow. Okay, those are great. That's tough, because I feel like I'd be more likely to throw a disc like that than one of the really overstable 7-speeds. I'd probably throw like an overstable 9-speed instead, because that's a similar function to me. Because I do like the more mellow fade of the weapon compared to the other two. I just wonder if having that new, if it'll beat in too fast compared to the others. And the last throw with the Torque from Finish Line Discs. Let's just try to ace it, you know, send off a good one for my sponsor. Little low, but good shot. Okay, that one was similar to the other two. If I got it a little higher, we'd have time to flex out. Speaking of sponsors, Infinite Discs. If you want to snag any of these discs, I'll have them linked down below. Shout out Eric as well, Infinite teammate. Signed with Birdie and is doing some cool stuff with them, I heard so. So far, I really like the feel of this weapon. Not quite as different as the initial one that I thought, but it definitely is that tick up in overstability that would make me want to throw this over the other one, especially because I do prefer the plastic. My eyes deceive me a little bit. Weapon is a little short. Terra parked. So 1 for the Terra, 1 for the weapon, none for the FD1, which I think if I threw like that Terra, it'd have a very similar result. Still might be a touch more overstable though, and next hole is one of my favorite holes to review something like this because we'll get a really good look at flexing it to hit a very specific line and stay in bounds. Oh, that's a big, uh-oh. Dang. Left to right didn't drop it as much as I thought. And I got a probably 30-foot comebacker with a right to left tailwind. Also, speaking of, wait till Wednesday. I'm finally dropping a review of PA3 versus Sonar versus P2X, Gannon's putter. Basically, the PA3 clones, not the Peak, because it's not really a PA3 clone, honestly. It's more like a KC Pro AVR, in my opinion. I might have to review that one as well against some other ones. Maybe even against PA3, since that's what Isaac's coming from. But something really fun dropping with that video. These Team Stamp PA3s might be my putting putter for the season. I've just really liked this black one, so I gotta beat these bad boys in. Ooh, a little high. There we go. Eric's branding looks really good on this disc. The one thing I'd say that I prefer on the old one is how stiff it is. It's a little stiffer than this new plastic. This is pretty gummy, which doesn't feel bad at all. It actually might be better for a disc like this because if it's a 7 or 8 speed, I'm typically throwing it for straighter finishing shots. I throw a 9 or 10 speed for something I want some skip. And so if this also digs into the ground more, as long as I can continue to get clean releases like I have been, it'll be great. So kind of interesting. I was thinking about this because this hole is 386. Same headwind, same direction as the last hole. This time we're going to that basket that's kind of past and left of that tree, but we have to keep this one in bounds, which got me thinking because last hole I said, anything over 330, I'm probably gonna start disking up a little bit. But here I would probably throw something like this because it's gonna fight the wind. But the reason I throw something like this is because a 7 or 8 speed isn't going to have as much fade as 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 speed would. So I'd probably just try to power up on something like that because it's gonna stay straighter. And there's OB left and right. Into this headwind, we gotta punch it on Anheuser and trust that it'll get back to flat and then finish. It's gonna be a long CTP. I don't know if I'm reaching this one right now. Came straight from the gym to film this video. So hopefully that just means I'm warm and not tired. Get under it. Now stay, stay, stay. Okay, it's got about 350. That's probably edge of circle short. Weapon next. That wasn't bad. I needed to finish that throw a little more. Weapon though, I think if I throw it on Anheuser, it's gonna maybe go too far right. So I'm gonna throw it flat at the tree, see if I can drift it. Oh, I threw a touch of hyzer and it held it. Okay, that's good to know. Got down there pretty good. Wow, okay, that's surprising. I thought it was a good bit more understable than these two. After that throw, it doesn't seem to be. In the FD1. It's got a chance to take a CTP. Yeah, that thing is so overstable. That's the shot though. No! Oh, the one tree. Wow, that nose bead really hooks it up faster than the other two, I think. Because the Terra doesn't have that nose bead, and the Weapon doesn't have that nose bead. Kind of that like lip, because the lip, from what I understand, on an overstable disc, really helps to just let it fade hard. That seems to be what it's doing to that FD1. Because I threw that one the best by far, and I thought I was around that tree, but when it starts to fade, it just dumps into it instead of pushing on it. Wow, wow, wow. The FD1 still, even with that tree hit, did get closest. It's inside the circle, about 27 feet. Terra's probably just outside the circle. If that didn't hit that tree, it's probably gonna be a little closer, not too much. Weapon OB, which I'm actually happy about, because throwing it flat, I expected it to turn and fade, and it's about the same distance as the Terra, but OB left. So I like that it's actually probably a little more overstable than I've given it credit for. I probably just threw it a little better, because the release sizes I'm getting are very clean with it. Okay, that surprised me. Oh man, that first one, it's getting me. Doing great correction. Still one down. This hole is gonna be great. 321 feet, I just checked U-disc. We're going to the basket, just the blue basket on this side of that far sidewalk. We can't take the big hyzer, I'm ruling that out. So we have to kind of throw either a forehand, a big turnover, or where I think the play is, slight anhyzer underneath this tree. Head left to right, and if it turns, I wonder if it will have the integrity to get back. Instead of throwing it flat, I'm gonna focus on a touch of anhyzer, because it might just come out flat, and that is okay. But I need to throw it just inside of this tree, whereas the other two, I'm probably gonna try to throw a little more on the path, so. Okay, I missed my line, but it's gonna be great. That's interesting. Okay, very interesting. When I put it on that angle, it just held straight. It didn't really want to fade very hard. I do think it's a much more mellow fading disc, but I think it probably holds hyzers well, which is why on that last shot when I accidentally threw it on hyzer, it held it decently. FD1 next. There's that fade, man. That's crazy. I think it probably goes so far. Weapon, Terra, FD1. So a bigger gap between the Weapon and the Terra than there's between the Terra and the FD1, but still that order. Yep, that's sick. That's the shot for me. That was awesome. This is a much better shot than I thought. I don't know which one's closer now. I'll have to step it out. Oh, never mind, this one's closer. I should always just stand behind him. No. 19, almost 20, so this one's about 23 feet, that one's about 20 feet. Terra, up 2 to 1 apiece for the other ones. And I can get up to 2 under par, because this shot was way better than I thought. I do like this disc a lot. I don't know if this is a disc category I will have in my bag this year. Oh, what a catch. All right, 2 down through 4. Now we got some tailwind holes. Feel pretty good about getting to my 3. Still have to work a little more with these discs though. Playing 15A this time. Up the middle. We're gonna call Mando left of that first tree. So even though there's like a left to right tail, we have to throw a flexi interesting shot. They call this one 386. So little pump, probably a little shorter than that, but not by that much. Skip straight. Okay, it's not 386, because that was maybe a 340 to 360 foot shot, but that was great. I'm really happy with that. I'm finally gonna treat the Weapon the same. A lot of anhyzer. I'm gonna need more options, more opportunities to throw that well, because I don't know, I feel like maybe because these are stiffer, I'm able to feel like I can get over on them more. It's hard. I like the Terra way more than I thought I would. The FD1 is just as overstable as I remember, and the Weapon is, I like a lot more than the premium one. I'm just not finding these anhyzer lines. Wow, that is beef. Oh, it might be closer to the pin though. 2, 3, 25 and a half. 9, 10, 11, 17, 18, 19. It got it. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 and a toe. Oh my gosh, that's like 3 inches, maybe less. All right, this is actually my second putt. I know it's my first, but I gotta tell myself it's my second putt. Look at that, hearted, it works. Uh-oh. Okay, I mean, I made the right one, I guess, this time, but I'm glad for the swap, though, because now I'm 3 down with 4 to play. Since we have a slightly helping wind with the tail right to left, we're gonna throw some forehands. It says we're about 315, 320 away. Weapon has the box. This is good, too, because I know Eric would throw this thing on a forehand. I mean, that comes out so well. A little short, but should be inside the circle. Here's the FD1, a little more Anheuser. Oh, a lot more Anheuser, I guess. Trash can? Oh, dang. Safe at least. Less Anheuser than that, dude. I think sometimes what I do is instead of throwing more Anheuser, I extend and throw more Anheuser, and it's like an over-the-top Annie, which is just not good. So more Anheuser, but in a similar arm slot. Like that. Still a little bit pulled. Yeah, those are definitely a little more overstable. I think these are all good. It's just gonna come down to preference and how much overstability you want or need. They are kind of 3 levels, but I think the biggest difference I've noticed is when this gets onto an Anheuser angle or a turning angle, it wants to hold it rather than fighting out of it. Those two are like, I don't wanna be there, I wanna fight out. This one's like, I'll chill here and then fight out. So it has a longer glide phase on Anheuser. And so I think that's why, like if I would have thrown it like those, I think I'd be in the street. I will test that theory though. This hole is 396 feet to the red one down there. And to get there, especially with these guys, since we're going into the wind, to head left to right now, I'm gonna have to turn them all over. And especially since the FD1 is the disc that has the box, it's gonna be a pretty good shot for me if I can birdie with this. This is outside of the range that I typically throw something like this. I would need a more neutral 7 or 8 speed, or just a faster disc. Oh, that was a great shot, actually. I threw that so well. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy with that. Holy cow. Next disc is the Terra. I think it's gonna fly very similar, except maybe a little farther, you know, gyro technology. It's gotta go farther. Okay, that one wasn't quite as pulled over on the nose angle, and it went just about as far. I think that shot with this disc will be the shot to get there. We'll just see if it holds Anheuser longer. So that's kind of what I mean, is it kind of glides on the Anheuser way longer. But that one's CTP. I also forgot to say which one was CTP in the last hole, and it was the weapon. So now it's 3 for the Terra, 2 for the weapon, maybe 3, because that is a bit past the basket and parked. That weapon might be the stability I like, because it's still, I mean, it fought out of that thing. Took a while, which is a little scarier, but kind of, you want that elongated glide sometimes if you're in the woods, because my 9 speeds kind of fly more like those other 7 speeds, or 7 and 8 speed, the Terra's an 8 speed, but that is, whew, that was a nice, I mean, this is the wind I was thrown into right here. Basically straight headwind. And I mean, I threw that thing on Annie and it held it, and it faded. On Anheuser, you can definitely tell the difference. On Anheuser, not nearly as much, so we'll throw that next. Okay, weapon and FD1 are so close. Terra's a little farther behind. 7, 9 and a half, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. Is that good? Is that good? Is that good? Birdie. Did the wind shift and now it's helping? Why is it now right to left? It's so swirly today. I'm going the exact same direction as the last hole, and now it's like a little right to left. Get over the creek. No, no, hop. Oh no. I pulled that too wide. And that is OB. It's a retee, so I guess this will be our actual shot then. See, that's the interesting thing. It like never wanted to pop on that at all. Wow, okay, FD1. FD1's definitely a little more spiky. Great shot though. That Terra never gotten bounced, so it looks like we're putting for bogey from the weapon. I think the FD1 might be the CTP though. FD1, nice in the circle. Weapon just outside. think that is the surprising thing. On hyzer, it acts more like these discs, not quite as bitey, but doesn't want to pop up. On anhyzer, it wants to hold it for a while, but it will get overstable just maybe 20% later in the flight than these two. Oh no. All right, I'm back to making the second two. I should have said that was my second putt. What was I thinking? I'm gonna end it with another little anhyzer test going up this hill, 370 feet from up here. Uphill, we do have that crosswind, so now again, we get to see kind of how they fly on anhyzer, but now against the wind, since it's gonna be a crosswind until they get back onto their hyzer edge and fade. Terra has the box, just need a par. Love to get a birdie though. This is a pretty big shot for me. It's a little too wide on that one, but still gonna get me a close putt, probably about 40 feet. Weapon now. This might be the disc to do it, because I think it might want to go the farthest. Just inside, wow. Okay, that was a little nose up. Man, I'm not giving that thing enough credit. Pretty overstable. This guy, gotta give all the credit in the world. That's the best shot out of my hand, and the best result. FD1 might have come back, and they might have all tied up for CTPs, because I think that's the closest. Participation trophies for all. Uphill anhyzers are not a strength, but the very good news is, this is the Terra, this is the Weapon, about the same distance, maybe a touch farther than the Terra, and this is the FD1. Participation trophies for all, baby. They are all 3 CTPs. Don't know if any of these are gonna make the bag. The Weapon would probably come closest, but it's not quite that perfect disc for me in this slot, so maybe I'm able to find something else. Not 100% sure. The review that I have planned with this might help me find it. Very intrigued about that. But I do feel much more comfortable with this style of disc after doing this review, which is good, because I've now realized, hey, if I just throw a smooth, hard anhyzer, I can throw it pretty freaking far. All right, I got a bunch of little discs in this bag. Let's see if we can ace with one of these 3, or the other Weapon, or the Torque, and then I'll just kind of throw my whole bag at this 180 footer. Hopefully give you an ace on the outro. Subscribe, please. I'm the biggest rookie ever. I just made it 3rd shot with the Terra, and the camera was off. Oh, how did I not turn the freaking camera on? That was so pretty. That was perfect too.